Your ISP knows more about you than your search history. They know your devices, your location, your viewing habits, and in some cases, they've used that data to put you in a category. Maybe you've been tagged as viewership gay, or you've been ranked by what they call your assimilation or origin score. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's from a Federal Trade Commission report. So when someone tells you a VPN fixes all of this, they're not lying, but they're not telling you the whole story either. How did we get here? Most people treat their ISP as a utility, like the water company. You pay and you get internet. All good, right? But at some point, the business model changed. Verizon bought AOL, then it bought Yahoo. Comcast owns NBC Universal. Amazon is building a satellite internet service with over 3,000 satellites. These companies aren't just providing access anymore, they're media companies, ad networks, and data brokers, and your traffic is a valuable product. So what does your ISP actually see? When you sign up, they get the obvious stuff, your name, address, date of birth, payment info, but it goes further than that. They can pull your MAC address, which is a unique identifier for any internet-connected device, serial numbers, and operating system. They track your broadband usage, that's how data caps work, and several ISPs in the FTC study collect IP addresses and URLs. That means they can see the websites you're visiting. Some ISPs also collect location data, not just your billing address, but when you're away from home. That means they could know where your devices and you are going. And here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. ISPs can track apps by protocol, so they can tell whether you're browsing, streaming, gaming, or file sharing, even without seeing the content itself. It doesn't stop at what they observe directly. Some ISPs buy data from third-party data brokers, like demographic info, purchase history, general interest profiles, and combine it with what they already know about you. Then they sort their subscribers into audience segments. The FTC report names some of them: Asian achievers, political views, Democrat and Republican, last income decile. That means the poorest 10% of subscribers. The goal is targeted advertising, and because ISPs operate across your whole household network, this targeting doesn't stay on your device. Here's an example scenario. You search for a gift on your phone, and then ads for that item start appearing on someone else's device when they connect to your home network. The fun part is you agree to all of this. Technically, it's in the privacy policy. But the FTC study found that the percentage of customers who actually visit privacy policy pages ranges from 0.55% all the way up to 6.7%. That means somewhere between 93 and 99% of subscribers have not visited those sites. And here's the part that surprises people. ISPs often don't need to sell your data to third parties. They can share it with the other companies and properties they own. So after years of acquisitions, a lot of data is being shared within the same parent company. This is the same data ISPs say it will not sell to others, but it isn't selling to itself. This is essentially a workaround. Now, HTTPS and encrypted traffic do help. If a site uses HTTPS, your ISP can see the domain you visited, but not exactly what you did there. For example, the ISP could see that you went to Netflix.com, but won't see that you wound up at netflix.com/browse/genre 1721544. That's the Canadian Christmas kids and family movies category that we all check every day. But even if your traffic is encrypted like that, you're still leaking data. Know that DNS queries, the request your device sends to look up website addresses, are often unencrypted, and ISPs can log those even when the traffic itself is protected. So where does a VPN fit into all of this? The short answer, it helps, but it doesn't fix everything, and understanding what it does matters. When you turn on a VPN, your traffic gets encrypted before it leaves your device. It is then routed through the VPN provider's servers. Your ISP can still see that you're connected to the internet. They can still see how much data you're moving, but they can't see where you're going or what you're doing. The URLs, the browsing habits, the app usage, that goes dark. It is pretty useful, especially if you're on a network you don't control, like a hotel or a coffee shop. But here's what a VPN does not fix. Your ISP already has your name, address, payment information, and device information. That data exists. It was collected when you signed up. A VPN running now doesn't retroactively erase it, and it doesn't prevent your ISP from combining what they already know with data they buy from brokers. There's also the trust problem. A VPN doesn't make your traffic invisible, it moves who can see it. Instead of your ISP, now your VPN provider has a front row seat. And not all VPN providers operate the same way. So the question is not just, should I use a VPN? It's which VPN and do I trust them more than my ISP? There are things to look out for: independent audits of no-log policies, jurisdiction, and whether the provider has a track record of actually protecting users when pressed. The main point is this: a VPN is a tool, not a shield. It closes some of the gaps your ISP takes advantage of, but only some of them. You should know what they know. The FTC report I mentioned and more sources are all linked in the description. They're worth reading, even if you're in the 93% who skips the privacy policy. I'm Ayaz Akhtar, and I'll see you online.